So if you guys want to know exactly what the best way to get earnings in Chapter 2 Season 8 is, this video is definitely the one for you. Really quickly, remember that for every one supporter on code SonataYT, 100 V-Bucks will be added to the 10k sub giveaway prize. It's a really good way to support me. Alright, let's hop into it. So before I get into exactly how you guys are supposed to get earnings, I want to answer a question that's probably in a lot of your guys' heads. I want to explain why exactly you guys should take my word and my advice, and why you shouldn't doubt this information. Now, if you guys don't know, I don't have any Fortnite competitive earnings. And even though I have no earnings, I have tons of friends who are pros and have earnings. I'm able to learn from people like them, and I've been studying pro players with earnings since the start of my competitive career. The stuff that I've learned from all of these pro players is extremely useful, and I want to pass on that information to you guys. There's a lot of stuff that the pro community isn't telling you about placing, and if you listen to these tips, you'll most likely get earnings pretty quickly. I have also been playing competitive since the World Cup, and because I've been playing for so long, I've been able to pick up a lot of really good tips and tricks on the way. And to sum it all up, just because I can't execute all of these tips that I'm going to be giving you, doesn't mean that I can't help others do these tips to get earnings. Alright, now that that's out of the way, I want to explain what my first tip is going to be. The first tip is going to be to play exactly to what the meta is. Now, if you guys don't know, meta is actually an acronym for most effective tactics available. In Fortnite, the meta changes every single time there's a new major update. And with the launch of this new season, I want to go over the meta with you guys. So starting with rotation meta, the rotation meta this season is going to be to use slipstreams, alien ship pads, and shadow stones for mid-game. These are the most effective ways to rotate, and the best ways to properly place yourself throughout the mid and the late game. Rotation meta is something that all IGLs and smarter players should try and master. Especially if you're somebody who's not as smart of a player, the meta is something that you should be focusing on the most. Rotation gets more complicated and complicated as the seasons go on, and the people around you are going to affect how you rotate. So depending on what lobby that you're playing in, you have to adapt your rotation to those people, and that's the best way to take care of the rotation meta. Now, the weapon meta is going to be a bit strange this season. Not too many changes were made to the weapon meta. The only really big change is the addition of the lever action shotgun and also the charge shotgun. And now that those two shotguns are in the game, what you guys will need to do is decide which shotgun you prefer. The majority of players playing Fortnite right now obviously prefer the pump shotgun because that shotgun's the best in terms of pullout time, damage, and overall reload speed. However, at the end of the day, it comes down to preference. But one secret tip that not that many people are telling you is to utilize the sideways dimension. If you guys don't know, with the addition of Season 8 came a brand new dimension that you can access via Rift called the Sideways. In this dimension, you can get a bunch of really good miniguns and assault rifles, and those weapons are absolutely overpowered. If you have those, you're basically guaranteed to win any fight that you take. I would recommend you abuse this and try to find out where each Sideways Rift will be spawning each game. If you're able to do that, you're going to quickly master the weapon meta, and that's one really big good tip. And now the last type of meta that you guys need to master is the drop spots meta. Now recently I did make a solo drop spots video. Check that out in the top right corner if you guys are interested. But in that video I went over what the best solo drop spots are and how exactly you guys can find the best one for yourself. The drop spots in my videos always coincide with what the current meta is of that season, which is why I would recommend that you guys watch it. The more complicated the meta gets, the more complicated drop spots get. And this season a bunch of loot was added to the map, and finding a drop spot is going to be a lot easier than previous seasons. But finding the most effective drop spot is going to be a lot harder, simply because there's so many options to choose from. But truly the drop spot is based off of how you play it, not off of how much loot is there. Another really good word of advice would be to find teammates that are better than you who want to play with you. A really good benefit of this is that it's going to help you succeed in team game modes better. If you guys are interested in finding better teammates, consider watching my video in the top right corner once again. Prepare yourself to get rejected and dropped a lot, especially if you don't have that much PR points. But as long as you stay persistent and keep trying, you're gonna find good players that you need to play with. That's why you should never be scared of dropping your current trio and then going to find better teammates to play with, especially because there's at least going to be one more trio FNCS this year. Finding teammates that are better than you is going to help you rise up to that type of level. You never want to play down any levels. Schedules are also a really big part of succeeding and getting earnings in Fortnite. I'm gonna put up a tweet by EU pro player Jerky, and it basically explains his schedule that he uses throughout the day. The really good thing about a schedule is that it's going to keep you disciplined and on track for what you want to achieve. If you put together the perfect schedule of practice, VOD reviewing, and play, your gameplay is going to improve tenfold. And this isn't just something that I would recommend to people with no earnings. Even if you have earnings and for some reason are watching this video, please put together a schedule. It's going to help you improve a lot. It keeps you very consistent and it helps you work on yourself. Not only does it help your gameplay, it helps your mental and social aspects of your team commentary, and that's going to help you raise your teammates to your level and make them play just as good as you. Ask yourself this question: how many times have you wanted your teammates to just be clones of you, and how many times have you wanted them to play exactly like you do? I bet the answer for almost all of you guys is a bunch of times, and you can truly do that as long as you set yourself a schedule and remain disciplined. well. And that leads me into my final point of working on yourself. Now this one's a bit of an abstract tip that I've given to a lot of people in the past, but if you guys want earnings, you're definitely going to follow it. You need to work on yourself rather than just your team. A lot of people think that if they play solo scrims or solo arena, they're going to get worse because it's going to ruin their mentality. And this is really not true at all. I can't describe how much solo arena helped me improve as a player. Not only will it strengthen your own mental, because as you succeed more in solo arena, you're going to feel that you're way better of a player. It'll also help with your solo gameplay, and that's never an issue. The more you work on your solo gameplay, the better a player you become. Solo gameplay is not only going to affect your natural gameplay, it's going to affect every aspect of the way that you play. Your solo gameplay will also apply to trios. The way that you can carry your trio and get eliminations, and even potentially lead your trio, is going to really improve. As long as you practice as much as possible and work on yourself, the entire way that you play Fortnite will change. I speak from experience, and so do a bunch of different pro players. There's a reason that people like Fishy and people like Day got really good. They played a lot of solo arena, and they VOD reviewed every single death that they had from their opponent's perspective to see what they can do better. After they did these things, they took down the notes, and then they continued trying to improve as much as they possibly could. And then eventually, after working on themselves for as long as they could, they improved to a point where they were able to succeed in competitive Fortnite in all game modes. And that's what I would recommend that you guys do. And that's a wonderful segue into my final point of how exactly you guys need to understand the tournament format for the tournaments that have earnings. This is one crucial point that I went over in my previous earnings video. That was over a year ago, so don't really worry about that. And I was a squeaker when I made it, so please don't watch it. But a really important aspect is to understand how the tournament format is to be played. An example could be this. In a DreamHack Duos event, playing for placement is much more valuable than W keying. And it's the best way to play if you guys want the best chance at qualifying and making money. However, for an event such as a solo cash cup, the best way to play is to properly W key, because you're going to get a lot more points from kills than you're going to get from waiting out all the games. You're not even going to be able to fully play out all of your games in a solo cash cup, which is why you need to W key more. In stuff like a DreamHack, you're obviously going to have time to play out more of your games, which is why placement is more important, especially in team game modes. But overall, as long as you guys understand the proper tournament format for the tournament you are playing, a lot of these things should be easier and earnings should be a lot easier to achieve. That's the best advice that I could give you guys in terms of tournament formats directly. And if you follow all of these tips, you guys are easily going to improve and get earnings in competitive Fortnite. Anyways, guys, that is the video on exactly how to get earnings in competitive Fortnite during its Chapter 2 Season 8. If you guys did enjoy, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to the channel down below. If you guys want to check out my Discord server and any of my socials, please go into the description and check those out. And consider using code SonataYT in the Fortnite item shop. But that's about it for this video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.